want to win, and we've heard a lot about, like I say, about the game time that's needed. What are you expecting for Argentina, and how do you hope your team response will be?
Sorry, Jan, expecting from them in terms from a selection point of view or rugby point of view?
No, from opposition, from a game point of view.
Okay. Yes, now I expect pretty much what we got at Ellis Park, but probably just times 10 in terms of the intensity and the emotion. That's what we expect. I said to the players yesterday that I think if we can think back at France against in Marseille, I think that's the hostility you'll probably feel on the weekend. So it's actually, I think, for this group, it's a great preparation for a World Cup. Probably it will be that hostile, that pressure environment for the players. So it's I think it's a great opportunity for us to get a little bit of that. I think it's going to be hectic in there. Last year it was, and I think even it depends on who they select, but I know Creevy is on 99 tests, and he will be the first Argentinian to get to a century. So if he is selected, there will be lots of emotions.
Ashfaq?
Thanks, Zina. Hi, Jacques. Hi, Gerard. Geluk, Gerard, for you. Jacques, just in terms of the loose trio there, Deon Fourie starting at open side flank, obviously a big game for him, but also for South, a lot of people still feel he's more of a number 5 lock. He had some good games at blindside last season, but perhaps not quite at that same level this year. What do you want to see from the two of them?
No, just what we saw. Obviously, ourselves. Let's start with Deon. I think what Deon gave to us in that this Australian Test match that he played when he came off the bench, I think. I mean, the intensity and what he brought to the Stormers and what he did for us last year on the end of year tour. I think if Deon brings that, we will be happy, and obviously that's why we select him, to bring the Deon Fourie part that we see week in, week out. And then in terms of South, yes, I mean, if you think about, I hear you in terms of South has only played one game for us, or Franco has only played one game for us this year, and that was the one in New Zealand. And I think we didn't do that. I think not what our forwards didn't do us any favors in that first 20 minutes. We got better as the game got on, and there's numerous reasons or that we think that might have been the issue, the slow start for us in there in New Zealand. But then Franco, if you think back, Peter Steff got an injury last year, and Franco stepped in, and he was he was playing 7 for the majority of the games for us last year. No, he can operate. I think if you think the tries that he scored for us against Australia last year there in Sydney, no, he's been good to us there, and him and Deon are getting another opportunity. So it will be great to see them working together.
Can you so?
Good evening, Jacques. First point of clarity. The graphic has Jean Klein and Marvin already starting, yet the release has Luet and John starting. Which one is which?
No, Marvin will be starting. Yeah, Luet this morning, unfortunately, he's a little bit chesty. We don't want to take a chance. So Doc said, listen, it's probably not worth it. So he's a little bit chesty, and that's why we Marvin came with for if something like that happened. Obviously, it would have been nice to give Luet last played against the New Zealand, so it would have been nice to give him a go. But unfortunately, medically, he's sick. There's no injuries. He's just sick. So we feel that it's maybe a little bit of a risk. So that's why Marvin is starting.
And Jaden's absence?
Sorry?
And Jaden? Is there anything wrong with him?
No, Jaden. There's nothing wrong with Jaden. No, he's fit and ready to go.
Morgan?
Thanks, Z. Jacques, just a word on Bongi's captaincy, please.
Yeah, yes, listen, yeah, well, I'm extremely proud of Bongi. He's been a brilliant leader for us since that I've been back, since 2018. I mean, Bongi is he's one of our pressure point drivers or game drivers, if I can put it like that. And he's a no nonsense leader. He's a guy that leads by example, by doing the hard stuff. He's not a guy. He doesn't mince his words. He's a straight shooter, and he's a guy that demands respect. People. I always say sometimes when people walk into a room and you sit with your elbows on the table, you take your elbows off and sit up straight. He's almost that guy. He's got that nice aura around him. And then, like I said, he's a no-nonsense guy. Yeah, extremely. Yeah, I'm proud of him.
Nathan?
Thank you, Z. Firstly, congrats, Gerard, congrats with the potential Bok debut. Secondly, Jacques, what will the challenge be for this weekend for the players playing, especially with the core group of senior players staying behind? Last week, you stated the players were given a different challenge with different combinations and having to adapt. I mean, what was the message to the players who traveled to Argentina?
Oh, the exact same. And I think if you look at the squad, Trevor won a World Cup British and Irish Lions Series, Bongi World Cup British and Irish Lions Series, Thomas World Cup British and Irish Lions Series, John Klein Irish International, Marvin not World Cup, then Dion Fourie, Franco Moster British and Irish Lions and World Cup. Jasper, British and Irish Lions. So I think if you just look at, and I don't want to go through all of them, but yes, one look at it and say, listen, it's maybe not as experienced team, but this is a very experienced team. Yes, there's Gerard will make his debut, and then there's a couple of guys with single-digit test matches that's maybe on the bench. But even from a back's perspective, we all know the quality of Kirtley, and he's probably the least experienced of the three backs on the bench. Herschel and Jesse have both won a World Cup before, and British and Irish Lions. So yeah, it's probably a balance. And what do we expect from them? Exactly what we expected from the team that played at Ellis Park. We know that it's probably going to be a little bit more emotional for Argentina. So. They tend to grow another extra arm and a leg when they play in front of their home crowd, and we think it's going to be a fairly hostile crowd. So yeah, no, it's going to be a proper test match for this 23 players.
Lita?
Thank you, Z. Hello, Jacques. Hi, Gerard. Jacques, just for you, please. Would you say that of the previous three tests, you got in Afrikaans uiteenlopende wedstryde van Argentinië in terms of Argentina, All Blacks and Australia. You got different games from them. Would you say that was the case? And then looking at this last Argentina game, what is it that you would want from those guys who are hopeful to put up their hand for a last chance?
Okay, if I understand you correct, the first one is, listen, Argentina gave three different games in the first three test matches of this year. That's what you mean, from Argentina point of view.
Yes, the rugby champs gave you three different games.
Yeah, I think if you look at the first game, a similar thing happened to them, what happened to us against New Zealand. I think New Zealand got them in the first, I think it was like 20 or 30-0 after 20 minutes or 30 minutes, So New Zealand got them with an incredibly quick start like they caught us. And I think it's similar if you think the majority of the Argentina group also play their rugby in the Northern Hemisphere. Where the same as us, So I think they probably went a little bit cold into that first test match, but then they built nicely. I think they actually won the second half, Argentina against New Zealand. And then obviously they had a phenomenal game against Australia. beating them away from home. And then against us, I think we were nicely in control of that game until we got the yellow card, and then we gave them a foothold back into the game. So yeah, I think what do we expect from these guys? Yes, to handle what Argentina will throw at us, and Argentina they will throw emotion, physicality, good set pieces. Don't want to go too much in technical stuff, but I mean, it will be. We know they're a team. They're a physical, hard bunch of guys. So it's going to be a nice physical, proper test match, and the environment will be fairly hostile. It will be. I mean, just last year the crowd. I mean, it's humming in that stadium, and especially when Argentina gets momentum, then shirts off and fires in there's flares going off everywhere. Now it will be a pressure cooker of a game, I think.
Ross?
Thanks, Zina. How's it, guys?
Hey.
Jacques, with Damian at fullback there now, last season it seemed like you guys had decided that fullback was his best position and were hoping to back him there, and then circumstances happened and he's ended up being more of a fly half pick over the last year and a half. Do you feel that this is sort of his best position, and is that the position you want him to go in from now on? Obviously, Willy's done great in his experience helping Mani, but do you think that Mani and Damian will be a great sort of connection there?
No, I think firstly in terms of Damian, Damian is a quality rugby player. He can play 10, he can play 12, and he can play 15. It's almost like Frans Steyn back in the day when he was 19 or 20. There's this big debate: was he actually a flyer, or is he actually better at fullback? Is he better at 12? So 2011 World Cup he played 12 fast. 27 World Cup he played 15, and he played flyer for his club. So I think that's literally what Damian Willemse can do. He's a quality rugby player, and wherever you pick him, he will be world class. So I think, and Damian is a type of guy that wherever you need me, wherever the team needs me, not you, the team, he slots in. If it's fullback, it's fullback. If it's wing, it's wing. Like against Italy last year, wherever you need me. And I mean, it doesn't matter what position he goes into, he creates magic there. So I won't say for me there's 50. Is it 15? Is it 10? Is it 12? I mean, he's world class. Doesn't matter where you put him. And he's that type of guy that you want on the field, but in saying that, obviously we've got a certain way that we want to do things, and Damian is a guy that slots in wherever the team needs him. But it will be a lekker to see him and Mani connecting this weekend again. Yeah.
Percy? Percy?
I think Percy had a problem with his mobile device, but he had a question in the chat panel.
Gerard, what do you feel? How do you feel about making your debut?
Ja, ek dink is hoe kan ek sê, is nie 'n gevoel wat mens regtig kan beskryf nie. Ek dink dit nog eers self regtig by my ingesak nie, maar ek is baie opgewonde vir die geleentheid en hoop om dit met al twee hande aan te gryp.
Jan?
Thanks, Zina. Jacques, just a follow-up to one of my earlier questions. If you look, I know we spoke about the opportunities in game time, but are there any of these players that gets one last? I'm not expecting you to give names away, but are there any players that gets one last chance to stake a claim for a World Cup selection, given that the team is being announced on Tuesday?
No, I think they get an opportunity. And obviously it is the last game before the squad gets announced next week. So obviously it is the last opportunity, and they're probably fortunate in the fact that they get an opportunity to play this weekend. But there is not two. I also said to them on Monday, I said, listen, there's not two squads. And I said it to the group that played against them at Ellis Park. It's one squad. It's one squad of what are we, 42 players. And we have given 38 players opportunity in the course of the 4 games that we had in the Rugby Championship. And that's so our focus was obviously firstly to win the Rugby Championship, and I think we let ourselves down probably in 20 minutes of the rugby that we played, and that's the first 20 minutes of that All Black game. And probably the lesson out of that is if you are not on song from minute one, even going into the World Cup, I mean, 120-minute poor or a lack of intent, and you're out of Rugby Championship. But the other side of it, we wanted to spread the game minutes again. The difference between us and the other Southern Hemisphere players, maybe Argentina is a little bit different, is that their competition goes straight up to, or goes up to 2 weeks before the start of Rugby Championship, where our competitions, especially all our guys are probably Northern Hemisphere, they probably finished a month, 6 weeks, some of them 8 weeks before Rugby Championship starts. So we didn't want to go into the Rugby World Cup with players that are cold, so and not rugby ready. So for us, it was a balancing act between performing and winning the Rugby Championship, but also creating squad depth, having a squad that's rugby ready. Not having a player that if there's an injury that he hasn't played any rugby since 12 weeks now. We think we're 4 weeks now in the Rugby Championship, and some of them haven't played 8 weeks before Rugby Championship started. So you don't want guys not playing any rugby 3 months ago. So that was the balancing act for us. So there's no guns against the heads of anybody. Not last week, where it was their last opportunity, and not this week where we can say it's their last opportunity. It's just because we want to manage the load and get everybody rugby ready. Some guys had an opportunity last week, and some is getting opportunity this week. And obviously then the selection will happen after the test match.
Ken?
Thanks, Sina. How's it, Jacques?
Congratulations,
Gerard. Gerard, at the end of URC, what were your kind of plans for July, August? How big of a surprise was it for you that you were called up to the Springbok squad? I mean, obviously you're a very talented player, but were you surprised, that it's come so quickly?
No, definitely. I think I've always thought in my mind maybe next year. And when I got the phone call, I was on holiday in Dullstroom, busy fishing. And I mean, your opportunities come at different times. You can't. It's not a perfect world. When you get the opportunity, you have to use it. You can't say, "Now I'm going to wait till it happens on the right time."
Sim?
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, no, that's cool. My question is for Jacques. I'm just looking at the 4 players who haven't been able to play just yet. Obviously, the situation with Sia and Andre has been explained. And I guess Elton, because he came into the squad as cover, maybe that's kind of explained too. Just looking at someone like Jaden, particularly with your explanation about not wanting anyone who hasn't played rugby in such a long time not to have had a chance to play. Should we be reading anything into him not being able to stake a claim, as it were, ahead of the of the announcement?
Yeah, I know. Listen, the thing around Jaden, he probably would have played if it wasn't for the unfortunate family tragedy that happened with their family. But like I said, the plan and how we plotted it out in terms of who's going to play where, when, was explained to the squad when we started. And we said there might be adjustments. If there's injuries, there might be adjustments. If there's maybe a loss of form or stuff like that. But it was plotted out way in advance. So yes, but Jaden is a guy. Obviously, it's a little bit easier for us to make a decision on Jaden because we know him. We know what he can do. We see him at training. We know what he did for us last year. I mean, Faf got concussed. His first probably big game was against the All Blacks in Mbombela. you know, and he was a 9 that with very little test experience could help a pack and drive them forward to get a good result against New Zealand. So we know what is in Jayden. So no, I don't think there's anything you must read into that. It was just unfortunate, you know. We wanted to give Kobus another go this weekend, and we also wanted to give Herschel a go. And this is Herschel's opportunity. Herschel's first opportunity is in this game. And like I mentioned, Jayden would have probably got an opportunity a little bit earlier, but things just unfortunately due to circumstances, very tragic circumstances, out of our control, it just happened that way. But don't read anything into it.
Thanks, Jacques.
Thanks, Zina. Jacques, just you said a lot about making sure everybody gets game time. Joseph Dweba is also another case in point. You know, we know Malcolm and Bongi is the top 2 hookers there, but you know, one injury and then Joseph could be starting a Rugby World Cup match. Are you a bit worried about his amount of game time? Will we see him earlier on the pitch in Buenos Aires? And then just a quick one for Gerard. Gerard, wat verwag jy na eerste scrum, jong? Wat gaan gebeur?
Ja, gaan jy?
Ja, hoe kan ek sê, sal maar net doen wat mens doen. Daar's niks anders om te doen nie. Ek meen die bokke se scrum is verseker die beste in die wêreld, so maar net seker maak dat ek my deel bring aan.
Yeah, Ashfaq, in terms of Joseph, yeah, yes, at least we got minutes into him. I think if you look at some teams currently, if you look at their third hookers, they're probably on less minutes than Joseph. So yes, it is just the way it is, you know. Bongi getting a big majority of the games, or a majority of the game, and Malcolm got a majority of the game, but Joseph had a little bit of minutes. Obviously, with 4 games, and you have three hookers, and maybe Dion Fourie standing in as maybe a 4th one. I mean, it's tough we tried and manage it as best we can. But like I say, I think there's a lot of, if you look at other teams, there's a lot of them that their third hookers had no minutes.
Guys, we have to switch over to Afrikaans soon, so I just want to first pop this Afrikaans question, and then when we do have time for more English before our 30 minutes is up, then we can always go back to that. But Jacques, just from Percy, just in Afrikaans, Bongi se kapteinskap, net 'n bietjie daaroor asseblief.
Ja, yes, Bongi, baie trots op Bongi. En veral hy's 'n baie goeie leier vir ons al van die begin af. Soos ek al van tevore gesê het, luister, in ons span is daar's 'n kaptein, yes, maar daar's 'n klomp ander leiers wat ons game drivers noem, wat verantwoordelikhede het in die wedstryd. Jy weet, en Bongi is altyd uitstaande in sy afdeling wat hy moet dryf. Jy weet, so hy was hy van vroeg af al baie goeie potensiaal getoon in terme van leierskap. Nie potensiaal nie, hy was net 'n goeie leier. So baie trots op hom, en Bongi is 'n tipe leier in my opinie wat dinge doen. Jy weet, so hy mense volg hom omdat hy sê nie 'n ding en doen 'n ander ding nie. Hy sê dis wat hy gaan doen en dan doen hy dit. En ek dink dis hoekom mense hom volg, want hy's 'n straight up ou wat vir jou sê wat hy gaan bring, en dan stel hy jou nooit teleur met dit nie. So ja, baie trots op hom.
Kobus?
Dankie Zina. Jacques, ek wil graag vir jou vra, wanneer het Gerard by julle op die radar verskyn en wat is dit wat julle van hom hou?
Ja, soos ek gesê het, ons hoe kan ek sê, van na die einde van die jaar toe af, ons praat altyd van roadmaps, en ons het daar seker 90 ouens wat ons volg, en dan elke week, so as hulle 'n wedstryd speel, dan kyk ons verskillende coaches na hulle aksies in die URC. So Gerard was op ons radar al, hy weet nie eers daarvan nie, maar wat ons hom dophou, en dan het ons maar 'n pecking order, hoe ons sien ouens perform, jy weet. So dis maklik vir ons as jy roadmaps doen op Gerard se spel. Dis maklik vir ons om 'n ou dan net in te trek want ons sien mos wat hy doen. Ons het 'n goeie idee wat die Bulls coach en hoe hulle werk deur die access wat hulle vir ons gee. Daar's goeie kommunikasie tussen Andy van 'n S&C point of view en Andre wat by die Bulls is. So ons weet presies wat aangaan, nie net met Gerard nie, maar met die ander ouens wat ons ook volg. Ja, ek het persoonlik nie vir Gerard geken nie, soos 'n persoonlike way nie. Ek het hom al ontmoet toe hy by ons ingekom het, maar die karakter wat beskryf is vir ons is 'n ou wat ons gedink het goed in die span sal inpas, jy weet, en in terme van ek kan nie net soos ek na sy games kyk ek het obviously met 'n defense oogpunt, want dis my afdeling en Gerard vir my is 'n ou wat nie bang is om 'n goeie tackle te maak nie. Hy's 'n baie harder werker, hy's 'n baie atletiese stit as jy in my opinie, in die klein deeltjie wat ek moet na kyk. So toe ons vir Gerard inbring het ek geweet die defense deel, ek hoef nie te worry daaroor nie. Ek het al 500 van sy tackles gesien en hy's okay daarin.
Lieten?
Dankie Zee. Gerard, kon jy daarom 'n paar visse vang terwyl jy op vakansie was voor die bokke jou ingekatrol het of moes jy maar vinnig alles oppak?
Ja nee, as jy daai oproep kry dan word dit nie meer regtig oor of die visse byt of nie, maar ek het daarom 'n paar gevang gekry.
Percy, you've asked 2 questions, so I'm just going to pop by to Kanyiso quickly and then Ken, and then I think we should almost be up for time, guys. So Kanyiso?
Thank you very much, Zina. Jacques, just take us through what you are looking for from Bongi from a leadership perspective. You've often explained that you do have a lot of leaders in the camp, but from a captaincy perspective, he does come across as quite a left field choice.
Yes, what I expect from Bongi is so obviously Bongi as being a hooker is probably the guy that talks to the ref the majority of the time in terms of scrums and lineouts and set pieces. So I think the way he communicates with referees are exceptional. And that's probably going to be the main thing. I mean, as captain, you want one guy speaking to the referee, and that should be him. And obviously him, like I say, normally other teams as well, when there's any discussion around set pieces or scrums, it's normally the hookers in other teams as well that talk to the referee, because if your captain is CI, he doesn't necessarily understand the ins and outs of the scrum. You know, he's in a scrum, but he doesn't understand what's happening there where it's dark in the middle. So that it's common that hookers talk to referees regarding the scrum, or sometimes it will be one of the props, but it differs from team to team. In our team, it's the hooker. So I think Bongi must do what he normally do when he speaks to the referee, and he will be our voice and communication with the referee, and he does it well. He must just do what he normally does. And then from a playing perspective, Bongi must just do what Bongi does. He's a no-nonsense guy. Like I say, listen, if during the build-up, during the week, if he gives you his word that he will sort this out, he will sort it out in the game. So, yeah, it might seem from the outside it's left field, but I promise you, if you talk to anybody inside the team, it's not a left field choice.
Ken, was that a question or was your hands raised from earlier? Okay.
From earlier, Zina. Sorry, I've loaded. Sorry.
Cool. Mott?
Good afternoon, everybody. Hello, Jacques. Hello, Gerard. My question is to you, head coach. You had spoken about how you want to use the Rugby Championship as a way to get some sort of momentum, some sort of continuity in the team. Do you think that you've achieved that? And do you feel that you're still on the page you wanted to be at this time? After these 3 matches, do you feel the team is where it needs to be in order to defend the title eventually in France?
Mort, yes, that's an interesting question. I think probably, if you ask me, I don't think with the selection and the chop and changing and trying to manage load and get minutes into people, I don't think you do yourself favors in terms of building continuity and understanding within the squad. And I mean, that's the risk you take because this week the hooker is used to Luat. Next week it is he gets opportunity with Ergia. The week after that it's Marvin. You know, so I don't think from a combination point of view, obviously with chopping and changing a team, you get that good continuity. And we expected that, and probably that's the pressure that team selection puts on the team. You know, they consistently during the week has to build new little units with amongst each other, and that's probably the development and growth you get of that. Are we where, and I think going forward in the next warm-up games after the Argentina game, we'll probably start, obviously we would select 33 guys going to the World Cup, 38 guys going to that warm-up game. So we will select the 33 guys going to the World Cup or the World Cup squad, but there will be an additional 5 guys that travel with us to Wales and to the All Black game. And the reason for that is because we believe it's going to be a squad performance if we want to defend the World Cup. And also, if you think back at 2019, you know, I think we were 31, and then we were 36 players. So there was my maths. There were 6 guys on standby, and out of that 6 guys that were on standby, 2 of them joined straight after the first World Cup game in Thomas de Toy and Damian Willemse for the injuries of Jesse and from Trevor. So without a doubt, those 33 guys will go to the World Cup. There will be 5 guys on standby, so 38 guys. But history has proven to us that 2 of those 5 guys will probably, due to injury, probably join the World Cup squad. So, yes, I think we'll probably work on continuity after the Argentina game, Mots. So to answer your long answer, yes, in some aspects, I think we are where we want to be, but we're not the finished product yet, Mots. No.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for your time. Have a good afternoon. We'll send out the recording shortly.
Dankie.
Dankie.